It is important for you to know that this poem is not about love, because love is too complicated to have a poem written about it. Love is a loaded word. There is no one solidified meaning, no easy way to explain how it feels. Each person speaks of a different definition, and yet all of us are searching for it. Searching for this thing we once heard about in a fairy tale before our parents tucked us into bed. But it is not important for you to know what love is, because this poem isn't about that. This poem is about you. See, when I was 14, I thought I could find the feeling of love when an attractive woman walked in the room. I would write poetry about her, inserting the words soft body and goddess where her name should have been. I would go into detail about how sexy she was and how she had abs that lined up like 8 stones of the yellow brick road, which I would follow to the wizard of whatever and never go home, because there's no place like her. At 17, I thought I could find her between the sheets, when bodies began to blend together and words were not things we use our mouths for. Thought I could stop looking when your breath lay helpless and heavy on my neck, that I wouldn't have to keep searching, because you would not give yourself to me unless it was for love. But this poem isn't about love. This poem is about you. As these years pass, I'm able to see the many faces love wears. I learned it is complicated and unforgiving. It is prideful and struts around like a peacock with feathers that bear no repetition. Love takes no prisoners. It is independent like a snowflake. You cannot bribe it for you to have your way with it. It is like cancer that spreads and has no cure. It is beautiful. So beautiful that for years I have prayed it can find me worthy of its secret, that it would lean over and whisper in my ear, I give in to you and you may not conquer me. Back then I was naive enough and young enough to think that this could work. Oh, what a poor fool I was, unaware of what I was looking for. But this poem isn't about that. This poem isn't about love. This poem is about you. By the time I turned 19, I had prayed for so long that I had given up on the idea that anyone was listening. My scarlet letter had been forever branded on my chest when it was ripped open, split open, cracked open, and left open. The doctor said it was necessary. He said the cancer had twisted its way up my veins and is seeking shelter under my flesh. And surgery was my only option. So you see, I don't really have a choice but to be left with a constant reminder that it was there, tattooed with the scars of razor blade veins. But you're different. I can see that you are necessary. You're twisting pieces of yourself through my veins and seeking shelter under my flesh. Surgery is my only option. You use tools that leave no trace of your work. No stitches could sew up the incision you made, left with a constant reminder that you were here and altered by the scars a soft kiss makes. As time passes, I'm able to see the many faces you wear. You are complicated yet forgiving. You're prideful and shred around like a peacock with feathers that bear no repetition. You take me prisoner. You're uncomparable like a snowflake. You cannot be bribed for me to have my way with you. You're like a cancer that spreads and has no cure. You are beautiful. You're the reason this poem isn't about love, because love is too complicated to have a poem written about it. Love is a loaded word. There is no one solidified meaning, no easy way to explain how it feels. Each person speaks of a different definition, and yet all of us are searching for it. Searching for this thing we once heard about in a fairy tale before our parents tucked us into bed. But it is not important for you to know what love is, because this poem isn't about love. This poem is about you. This poem is about arguments that bring us closer together. This poem is about trust, about honesty that leaves lies with no breaths to walk on. This poem is about sacrifice, about sex so good we're overcome by laughter. This poem is about moving forward every time we get scared about revisiting our past and healing our childhood. This poem is about talking to each other using baby voices and embarrassing nicknames. Yeah, this poem is about laughter, because that's exactly what happens every time I'm around you, and all I can do is smile. This poem is about you. This poem is about me. This poem is not about love. This poem is made for love. This poem is love. This poem is about us.